Good morning, everybody. This is the Just Fish crew making a video from the Just Fish van while I'm driving. I'm going to see if I can do 2 or 3 things at one time. I will look at the road and drive. I will glance at myself in the camera, and I will talk about a subject matter that was brought to my attention today while I was busy cleaning a tank that I've got to hear many times over the years. And that is, I was busy cleaning a saltwater tank at a account, and a customer of that account is walking by and says, "Oh, is that a saltwater fish tank?" "Oh, why, yes, it is." Yeah, I've got a freshwater fish tank, and I've got a bunch of friends that have saltwater fish tanks. They say the saltwater fish tank is easier to take care of than the freshwater fish tank. And, I've heard this so many times that I've got my line down pretty pat on that. And that is pretty much bullshit. That's bullshit. How could it be easier? I'm having to mix salt in one and I'm not in the other. So right out the gate, before we even go any further, I'm doing more work for the saltwater fish tank than I am the saltwater fish tank. I mean, I'm doing more work for the saltwater than I am the freshwater. So that's what happens when you're trying to see if the light's turning green or not, and driving and trying to make a video cast. So, yeah, now, I'm not trying to say saltwater's hard. Don't take that wrong. I'm just trying to dispel this myth that saltwater is easier than freshwater. I promise you that anybody that's ever fought marine ick over freshwater ick is saying bullshit, too. As they watch hundreds of dollars of fish die from these little white spots that's so easy to cure in freshwater. I promise you that the person that's fighting hair algae is screaming bullshit at the top of their lungs as they continue to change phosphate media in their reactors, as they're manually pulling hair algae out with their fingers, buying hundreds of hermit crabs to attempt to eat it, reducing their light, playing with their wavelengths. All these people are screaming bullshit at the top of their lungs. So, what is the truth? Well, the truth is this. This is what I've broke it down to over the incredibly long time that I've been doing this. The average freshwater person, I'm not saying everybody, but the average freshwater person gets kind of lazy. And they get lazy not because they're necessarily lazy people, but because the tanks are so damn easy that it becomes easy to neglect. Would you say that's a true statement, Raj?
Yep.
I mean, once the thing is cycled and going, it just is it's sort of autopilot. Oh, they say I'm supposed to do a water change once a month, but shit, it looks good. I don't think I'm going to do it. I mean, that's what we hear, right?
Yep.
4 months goes by. Oh, there's a little algae. I'll go buy a suckfish and put it in my tank to clean it. That's one of the big freshwater things. I got to have a suckfish, like right after I set it up so that I don't ever have to clean it. More bullshit. But anyway, so there's this misconception that everything's just honky-dory. And then what happens? They've waited so damn long that now the tank is in terrible, terrible condition. Green water, black algae all over the glass, stinks, fish are dying. So now what are they doing? They're taking the whole thing, Roger. What are they going to do? Can you read my mind? Because we haven't even talked about this. What does that average freshwater person say that they do every 6 months to a year to their freshwater aquarium?
Drain all the water out?
Drain all the water out. See, he hears it too. There's no pointers. This is free speech, doing it on the fly while I'm driving, because I just heard that conversation. That's exactly right. About every 6 months to a year, we have to drain all the water out and take the thing outside and scrub it. Well, yeah, of course that's a lot of work. And this is what this fine young lady, asked me. She goes, "Well, do you have to break down a saltwater tank every so often and take everything out and clean it?" No, and you don't have to do that in a freshwater tank either. If you do what you're supposed to do and just stay on that minimal maintenance routine of removing some water as indicated by the test on how much and how often, right? So your simple nitrate test kit sort of lets you know how often you should be doing this, but at the very least, 20-25% once a month. That's what you should be doing at the very least. So, if you do that, you never have to take either tank down. And that means at the end of the day, if we're just going to compare apples to apples, the marine tank is slightly more difficult than the freshwater tank, mainly because you have to actually measure some salt and add it. You're still doing partial water changes in each one. You're still wiping algae off the glass on each one. You still have the proper amount of scavengers in each one. You still have to pay attention to the lighting and placement by windows for each one. So very close to being equally easy, but because I'm having to mix salt and test it in the marine tank, I give the edge of ease to the freshwater aquarium. Agree or disagree?
I agree.
This is my PIC. Everybody knows Raj Dog. PIC is what we call a partner in crime. PIC, the pig. That could be a quiz question in the future. You never know. All right. That is marine tank versus freshwater tank 101.